April with his sweet showers has pierced dryness of marsh to the root, and bathed every vein in such moisture, and has power to bring forth the flower, when also Zephyrus with his sweet breath has breathed spirit into the tender new shoots in every wood and meadow, and the young sun has run half his course in the sign of the ram, and small birds sing melodies and sleep with their eyes open all night, so nature pricks them in their hearts, and people long to go on pilgrimages, and palmers long to seek strange shores, and far-off shrines known in various lands, and specially from the ends of every shire in England they come from Canterbury to seek the holy, blissful martyr who helped them when they were sick. Before we part, my purpose is to tell of Troilus, son of the king of Troy, and how his love adventure rose and fell, from grief to joy, and after, out of joy, in double sorrow, help me to employ my pen to symphony, and to indite these woeful lines that weep even as I write. To thee I call, whose joy is to torment, O cruel fury, in thy drear domain, help me that I am the sorrowful instrument of help to lovers, for I sing their pain as best I can, and it is true and plain that sad fellow suits the sorry mate, and sorrowing looks a tale of sorrowful fate. Serving the servants of the God of love, not daring love in my ungainliness, though I should die, for it I look above, and pray far off in the darkness for success. But if this brings delight or ease distress, for any lover that may read this story, mine be the labor, and be love the glory. For all you lovers bathing in delight, if any drop of pity in you be, remember the despair of some past night you have endured, and the adversity of other folk you too have bitterly complained when love has ventured to displease you, or you won him with too great an ease. And pray for those who now are in the case of Troilus, which you shall later hear, that love may bring them to his heaven of grace. And also pray for me to God so dear, that I may show, or at least come near, to show the pain of lovers suffering thus, in the unhappy tale of Troilus. When I had journeyed half of our life's way, I found myself within a shadowed forest, for I had lost the path that does not stray. Ah, it is hard to speak of what it was, that savage forest, dense and difficult, which even in recall renews my fear. So bitter, death is hardly more severe, but to retell the good discovered there, I'll also tell the other things I saw. I cannot clearly say how I entered the wood. I was so full of sleep just at the point where I abandoned the true path. But when I reached the bottom of a hill, it rose along the boundary of a valley that had harassed my heart with so much fear. I looked on high and saw its shoulders clothed already by the rays of the same planet, which serves to lead men straight along all roads. At this my fear was somewhat quieted, for through the night of sorrow I had spent. The lake within my heart felt terror present, and just as he who, with exhausted breath, having escaped from sea to shore, turns back to watch the dangerous waters he has quit, so did my spirit, still a fugitive, turn back to look intently at the past that never has let any man survive. When the siege and the assault had ceased at Troy, and the fortress fell in flames of firebrands and ashes, the traitor who had the contrivance of treason in their fashions was tried for his treachery, the most true upon earth. It was Aeneas the noble and his renowned kindred, who then laid under them lands and lords became, of well nigh all the wealth in the western isles. When the royal Romulus to Rome his road had taken, in great pomp and pride he peopled it first, and named it with his own name, and yet now it bears. Curious went to Tuscany, and the towns founded. Langobard and Lombardy uplifted halls, and far over the French flood Felix Brutus, on many a broad bank and brae Britain established full fair, when strange things, strife and sadness, at whiles in the land did bear. Of each other grief and gladness, all fast followed there. Of old was an age when with emptiness there was sand nor sea, nor surging waves, unwrought was earth, unroofed was heaven, and abyss yawning, and no blade of grass. The great gods then began their toil, the wondrous world they well builded. From the south and the sun, from seas rising, gleamed down on grass, green at morning. They haul and hallow, high up towering, gleaming gabled, golden posted, rock-hewn ramparts, reared in splendor, forged in fortress, framed immortal, and marred their mirth in many a court, where men they made of their minds cunning. Under hills of heaven, on high builded, they lived in laughter, long years ago. Dread shapes arose from the dim spaces, over sheer mountains by the shoreless sea. Friends of darkness, foes immortal, old unbegotten, out of ancient void. To the world came war, the walls of God, giants beleaguered, the joy was ended. Mountains were moved, mighty ocean, surged and thundered, the sun trembled. stand its due to Kubla Khan, the stately pleasure dome decree, where out the sacred river ran from caverns measureless to man down to a sunless sea. So twice 5 miles of fertile ground, with walls and towers were girdled round, and there were gardens bright with sinuous rills, where blossomed many an incense-bearing tree, and here were gardens ancient as the hills, enfolding sunny spots of greenery. Sing, O goddess, the anger of Achilles, son of Peleus, that brought countless ills upon the Achaeans. Many a brave soul did it send hurrying down to Hades, and many a hero did it yield a prey to dogs and vultures. For so were the counsels of Jove fulfilled from the day on which the son of Atreus, king of men, and great Achilles first fell out with one another. Tell me, O Muse, of that ingenious hero who travelled far and wide after he sacked the famous town of Troy. Many cities did he visit, and many were the nations with whose manners and customs he was acquainted. Moreover, he suffered much by the sea while trying to save his own life and bring his men safely home. But do what he might, he could not save his men, for they perished through their own sheer folly in eating the cattle of the sun god Hyperion, so that God prevented them from ever reaching home. Tell me, too, about all these things, O daughter of Jove, from whatsoever source you may know them. Armed, and the man I sing, who forced by fate and haughty Juno's unrelenting hate, expelled and exiled, left the Trojan shore. Long labors, both by sea and land he bore, and in the doubtful war, before he won the Latian realm and built a destined town, he banished gods, restored the rights divine, and settled sure succession in his line, from whence the race of Alban fathers come, and the long glories of majestic Rome.